Hey guys, so Kamala Harris shows her anti-Catholic bigotry once again by snubbing Catholics and refusing to go to the annual Al Smith dinner, which every single candidate, both Democrat and Republican, has been going to since 1960. It was Kennedy and Nixon, 1960. The only other candidate to skip this was far left candidate in 1984, Walter Mondale. And Cardinal Dolan reminded Kamala Harris when, he said it in a nice, funny way, the way he is, he's a nice guy. He said, hey, just want to let you know, the last person to skip this lost 49 states. That was when Reagan demolished them. And actually, Reagan could have won all 50, but he never went into Minnesota. Minnesota was Walter Mondale's home state. And his campaign manager, what was his name? This guy was brilliant. He died of brain cancer. His name escapes me. I'm sure some of you guys remember him. But really, really brilliant. We haven't had a good Republican campaign manager like that since. He was a beast. It's driving me crazy. I can't remember his name. But anyhow, he told Reagan, he said, we could take Minnesota if you go visit there. We put some money because they weren't putting any ads there. Reagan wasn't visiting there. And Reagan said, well, let's let him have that. He felt bad for Walter. He said, let's at least let him win his home state. So I think we're going to have a similar, maybe not 49 states, but it's going to be bigger than people expect because most people got common sense and they're just fed up with this disastrous left-wing administration. They see the results. The policies are just horrendous. But getting back to the Al Smith dinner. So Al Smith was the first Catholic to run for president in the United States, 1928. He lost. I think it was Herbert Hoover beat him, if I'm not mistaken. But he was a 4-term Democrat governor in the state of New York. So the Catholic Church holds a big dinner every year. And it's a fun dinner, and political candidates come. And especially during presidential election years, they let each candidate get up for like 5 to 10 minutes and tell jokes. Just fun, busting each other's chops. And just a fun, relaxed time, people, kind of put down their guard and just, be civilized, And they raise money for Catholic charities. I think they said last year they raised like $7 million to help Catholic charities. So Kamala's campaign said she can't make it because she's got a campaign event. but she's lying because it's very easy to tell when Kamala Harris is lying. Just watch and see if her lips are moving. I mean, honestly, I've been a political nerd for over 40 years, and I know politicians are dishonest. And even Trump, he's prone to exaggerations. Everything is the biggest and the best, or the smallest and the worst. But I've never seen such a robotic puppet like Kamala that just spits out Democrat talking points that are outright lies because she knows she's not going to get questioned by the media. They're just all in bed with her. I've never seen such a liar. So I know she's lying about why she's not going to Al Smith dinner. So I'm going to share with you the real reasons why she's not going. Number one, her puppet masters won't let her. You can see who's ever running the country right now, because Joe Biden is running her, telling her what to do, and she will never go anywhere that's unfriendly to her, and she's unscripted. The puppet masters have to pull the strings, and they're not pulling the strings at the Catholic Church, and they're not pulling the strings, even though it's a friendly environment. She can't handle it. There's no way she's going to get up there like Trump will get up there for 5-10 minutes and tell some jokes, bust the chops of the Democrats. Might get a little rough, but nothing crazy. There's no way she could do that. She can't go up there unscripted. And she's a Democrat. So she has the best writers in Hollywood. They're going to write her jokes for her. She would have the best jokes. I mean, Obama had some of the best jokes. Clinton had some of the best jokes. But unlike Obama and Clinton, she won't be able to deliver them. I mean, you could write the best jokes, but if you have no delivery, and she has no delivery, You know, she wouldn't be able to tell the jokes. That's number one. So she would be awkward. She wouldn't know what to do. Number two, it would humanize Donald Trump. And the whole way the Democrats win, they can't win on ideas. They never tell you what they're for. You know, they never explain their ideas because their ideas are horrible. I mean, you see the results. I mean, everything that's happened with the border, with the Middle East, with Ukraine, the economy, everything was so predictable from day one when Kamala Harris and Biden started reversing everything Trump did to make everything good in those areas. It was obvious. It's like they did it on purpose. So Democrats can't win on ideas, so they win by destroying the person's character, to make the person so wicked and evil that you would be embarrassed to say you voted for him. That's why Trump always does better than the polls, because a lot of people are embarrassed. They know in their head logically he's better, but they're kind of embarrassed because they made Trump to be such this evil man. And you see when he beat Hillary at the dinner, you seen them kind of joking, and people were surprised that they were joking. You know, Cardinal Dolan was sitting next to him, and Cardinal Dolan was laughing, Trump was laughing, Hillary, and you realize this is just a human being. See, they try and dehumanize people, like the Nazis dehumanized the Jews. You know, Nazis were able to kill Jews by the millions because they thought they were dogs. They were subhuman. Hitler had them convinced Jews weren't equal. They weren't men. They weren't women. They were dogs. And you see the same thing with Hamas and Hezbollah. They teach their children as young as kindergarten that Jews are subhuman. They're evil. They're not human. And this is the Democrat playbook, that Trump is so evil that even though the economy is horrible, even though you can't afford to pay your rent, you should still vote for Kamala because Trump's a bad guy. And people will vote against their own interests because they don't like the man's personality based on the character of the Democrat Party. So number one, that's another reason she won't go, because she doesn't want to humanize him. You'll see him there laughing and joking. And naive people think that, you know, these politicians hate each other's guts, like most people on social media hate each other's guts from political parties. But the reality is they got to get along to get things passed. You know, Ronald Reagan was probably the most conservative president before Trump took office. And Tip O'Neill, liberal Democrat, was the head. He was Speaker of the House, you know. And at that point, the Democrats held the House for 40 years, you know, or nearly 40 years. It wasn't until Newt Gingrich got in that Republicans finally took over the House for the first time. And Tip O'Neill, Speaker of the House, Democrat Speaker of the House, and Ronald Reagan would go out for drinks every Friday to a local pub because they were friends. They totally disagree politically. And this is what the Al Smith dinner's about. Okay, we agree, we disagree politically, but we're not enemies, we're opponents, you know? But she can't do that. She has to make Trump look like an enemy. Even Newt Gingrich, during the impeachment process, Newt Gingrich said this. He said, while we were impeaching Bill Clinton, and me and him would be behind closed doors, cursing each other out, arguing, we were still able... sorry about that. The lights only stay on temporarily. I'm getting ready to go to work, so I just want to knock this out so I can get to work and get home before the hurricane hits here in Florida. But Newt Gingrich said even during the impeachment process, we were able to knock out a balanced budget, the first balanced budget in like 40 years. The Republicans gave Clinton, and he signed it. And then during Clinton's State of the Union address, you've ever noticed they hand the speech, you know, you have the Speaker of the House and the Vice President sit behind the President, and then before he speaks, he gives a copy of the speech to each of them, the Speaker of the House and the Vice President. If you remember when Nancy Pelosi was the Speaker of the House and Trump was, she, like a little juvenile, little sassy little girl, ripped up his speech. I mean, that was so ridiculous. I've never seen such unprofessionalism in my life, but that's what she did. These Democrats are like little kids. It's amazing. But anyway, Newt Gingrich handed an envelope. Bill Clinton handed an envelope to Newt Gingrich, and Newt Gingrich looked at him and he goes, open it. And I remember watching this, and you could see, like, you really couldn't hear him, you know. But then you see Newt Gingrich open it up and read it and bust out laughing. And Bill Clinton bust out laughing, and I think they shook hands. And later on, they asked Newt Gingrich about it. And he said, yeah, he wrote me a note that said, okay, you win. I'm going to resign tonight. So it was a joke. Of course, he wasn't going to resign. He got impeached by the House like Trump did, but he didn't get convicted like the Senate like Trump didn't either. So, but they can't have that today. The Democrats cannot allow that to happen, that we're just opponents with different political ideas. No, they got to make whoever it was. Remember, they used to call Bush a Nazi and a war criminal, and they try to, they were like, he needs to be tried for war crimes. And now Trump's like this horrible, racist Islamophobe, which more Muslims are voting for Trump than any Republican. So more blacks, he's a racist, but more blacks are voting for him than any Republican. He's an Islamophobe, but more Muslims are voting for him than ever any other Republican. So their lies are catching up to them because people believe their eyes and their ears and their wallet. So that's another reason they don't want to humanize them. Getting back, I missed the point. I got kind of off track. But comedian Jim Gaffigan, who's a Catholic, he's going to be the MC. So it should be fun. I always watch them. They're usually pretty funny. They usually got really good jokes. So Jim Gaffigan is going to be the MC. So it should be fun. But another reason is, according to a recent Gallup poll, just like 2 days ago, came out, 85% of atheists are voting for Kamala Harris. 85% of atheists. Her base hates the Catholic Church. 90%, I think it's 90% of people that say, or no, I think it's actually like 90, I think they said like 99% of people that say abortion is the number one issue are voting for Kamala Harris. And it's ironic that it's in New York because one of Kamala Harris's heroes is Margaret Sanger. Margaret Sanger is the founder of Planned Parenthood. And Margaret Sanger is on record saying that Negroes are human weeds that need to be exterminated. So we're going to put sterilization clinics in all the Negro neighborhoods and slowly exterminate them. And we'll get some prominent Negro figures like politicians and reverends to convince the Negro woman that killing her baby will be helpful to her family and her future. And this is Margaret Sanger's plan when she started Planned Parenthood, or as my African-American friends call it, Klan Parenthood. Because Margaret Sanger, on 60 Minutes with Chris Wallace's father, Mike Wallace, and you can look up this old black and white YouTube video, she said she loved giving speeches at Ku Klux Klan rallies because they were very enthusiastic about her message. This is a woman Kamala Harris admires. And has her plan work? Yeah, she has some influential black politicians and reverends supporting her Planned Parenthood. They get paid millions of dollars in donations. But did the plan work? Well, in New York City, ironically, more black babies are aborted every year than are born every year. So the Catholic charities that the money would go to from the Al Smith dinner is trying to end this black genocide. Kamala Harris's people, they don't support that. So this is kind of like a wink, like, yeah, screw these Catholics. This is like a wink and a nod. Yeah, I'm not going to go to no Catholic dinner. These guys are horrible. And she even said so much when a federal judge, I believe his name was Brian Brashear, went before her when she was a senator. And she said, you belong to the Knights of Columbus. And this is an all-male club that is anti-abortion and anti-gay marriage. How are you going to judge? What do you think of that? And he said, well, basically, we just support the Catholic Church's teaching. And she said, well, that disqualifies you. So basically said, being a Knights of Columbus and being a Catholic disqualifies a judge from being a judge. She is the most anti-Catholic and the most far left. Like I said, Walter Mondale was the most far left up to his time. And he lost 49 states and didn't go to the Al Smith dinner. And it's ironic because since his time, she's like even more far left than Walter Mondale. And she's going to lose in a landslide, I guarantee it. I could see her losing Arizona, New Mexico, Georgia, North Carolina, and even Virginia. And then she's going to lose the blue wall. She's got to win all three: Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Trump's just got to win one, but I'm betting he's going to win all three. It's going to be a huge blowout. We'll know Tuesday night. We're not going to be waiting for days. We're going to know Tuesday night. This is my prediction. So Kamala Harris's real reason for not going to the Al Smith dinner, because she hates Catholics. She can't go anywhere where her puppet masters aren't in control, where even though it's a friendly crowd, it's in New York, it's, mostly Democrat New York politicians are going to be there. Cardinal Dolan, just a super nice guy. He's nonpartisan. Even in that safe environment, because she doesn't have people like working with her, like at ABC guys that were, debating Trump with her. It was like 3 against 1. And she don't have her puppet masters answering the questions and giving her the questions, because it's a kind of freestyle. And even though she just got to give like a 5-minute stand-up routine that she'll have the best speech writers in Hollywood giving her the best jokes, but she'll have to sit in the crowd and she'll have to sit next to Trump and just be normal. She can't. She's a robot. Like, she can't be herself. She's the most inauthentic candidate versus the most authentic candidate. For better or worse, you know who Trump is. There's no guessing. He is who he is. And most people like authenticity. And even if they don't like Trump, they're going to be like, well, I don't know about this woman, Kamala, because I don't know who she is. And you don't know who she is, because she's a fake, a fraud, and a phony. The most anti-Catholic, anti-life candidate in our lifetime. So if you are Catholic, man, you need to get out and vote for Trump and get all your friends registered and vote for Trump, because this woman will come after you. She hates the Catholic Church. She hates unborn children. And she's just a puppet master of the left. So I hope this wasn't too political for you, but it's the political season, and this is what I do. I've been doing it since 2016. So if you're just here for the apologetics and the Bible studies, I've been planning a book of Galatians. Lord willing, I'll start it tonight, but the storm is hitting tonight, so I don't know if I'll be able to, if my internet will be up, if I'll be able to post it, but I plan on recording it no matter what, unless I don't have electricity and I don't have no lights. But Lord willing, it's 6 books, six chapters rather in this book, so I'll try and do like 2 a night, so we'll get it knocked out in 3 nights. It's a great book, St. Paul writing to the Church of Galatia. So God bless and stay Catholic.